The first one is the 1974 publishing mint year, so FA year of Incredible Hulk 181, which is the first appearance of Wolverine. That one sold for 5,000 gems, so $5,000. The second one is the mint 1975, which is a publishing mint year of giant size X-Men #1. That one went for everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the VeVe Vantage Podcast. Today I decided to look at all the posts of the past week. And I really want to focus on the specimens because even though there's quite a bit of saturation going on because of the number of drops that keep coming out, the one area that is still super strong is the specimen group. And I know that there's not a whole lot of collectors that fall into that category, maybe even less than maybe 100 that are like really, really into it, right? Would you say so?
Yeah, I'd say well, there's different ways of referencing these special editions
Mm-hmm.
that are available, and I know that there's a lot of discrepancies. There are many discrepancies over
Yeah.
what's considered a special edition, and I would agree that there's maybe like 100 people
Mm-hmm.
approximately uh, who target specific editions.
Yep.
And I think, in my opinion, when you curate a collection that matches, I think that makes it special in some capacity, and it brings eyes to that particular collection. It could be something very arbitrary. It could be eight 8 to 0. But if you have like 20, 40, 50 of that edition in your collection, it stands out and it's very noticeable. Yeah, it just makes it more noticeable. Um, and then you have like these other more well-known favorable editions like 616, um, 333 for Disney, Triple Eight.
You know
Uh,
what? You mentioned 802 and I looked it up. It sounds very familiar to me. So I just realized that I went to college with a bunch of guys from Vermont, and the area code for Vermont is 802. So they had a bunch of things that were related to Vermont, like they collected what is it, like license plate that has 802 and just a bunch of other things on it. But yeah, I think like comparatively, there are maybe like around 100 collectors who would go hunt for these mints like right away, and then there's some like casual other type of collectors who probably want to look for things that are really like personal to them. But my point is that I saw a post from Sean from Comics and Crypto Podcast. He listed 5 specimens of the Wolverine that sold in and the amount that they were sold for.
Mhm.
So the first one is the 1974 publishing mint year, so FA year of Incredible Hulk 181, which is the first appearance of Wolverine. That one sold for 5,000 gems, so $5,000. The second one is the mint 1975, which is a publishing mint year of giant size X-Men #1. That one went for $1,600. Mint 123 sold for 1,250. Mint 45, I don't know the significance of it. Maybe it's just like a low mint. Sold for 1,142. And mint 1997, which is the year of X-Men 97, sold for 1,000. And so, all of them are at least 10x the floor. The FA year is 50x. Well, yes, 50x floor. And then one of our good friends of the podcast, Rudy and Tina, They got Walt Disney partner statue mints 333, which is a very, very nice mint. Um, and so, people are still hunting for special mints, and they're going for a lot of money.
Yeah, and with that, I noticed those same people who are pursuing those special editions, they're in order to get that liquidity, they're moving some pieces around. They're
Mm,
selling some items
yep.
at floor or below what previous floors were in order to move in order to get those gems. Not everyone's putting in gems, especially if they have those stacks available to be able to sell those other items. Or maybe you could make an argument that some people are, when they buy those special editions, maybe they sell the other one that they had. So
Yeah.
like if you had a floor edition Walt, you could have sold that before or after buying the nicer edition one, you know? So there's a lot of ways that these collectors could be going about their business. I do have an idea of what's going on with, like, I mean, I pay attention to who's doing what
Yeah.
very carefully. I have my memory is amazing somehow when it comes to like seeing what's happening on the market with particular collectors. But
Well, because you're so competitive. You're in it every day.
well, not that much nowadays, but um, it's easy to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially as the pool of collectors kind of dwindles over time.
There's some drops that are not sold out. But every single drop, people always pay a very high premium for specimen. So that was just one thing that I kind of noticed is for this week, especially now that we just have a little bit more data on the specific amount that these specimens went for. There was another one, Mint 420, secret rare of the Ecomi logo,
Hmm.
sold for 5,000 gems. That was another one. And
That's wild.
yeah, and 420 was yesterday. Yeah,
Huh.
so yeah, that's that for specimen.
You know, so something that you kind of brought to my attention was how people, and I just mentioned this,
Mm,
how collectors are selling some extras in their collection and putting those items on the market and selling them at or below floor in order to be able to move those pieces, right? In
yeah.
order to get those sales off as quickly as possible, because a lot of the time, some of these sales may be time sensitive because there might be multiple eyes on them, especially when they see that there's a really good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing more and more good deals. Well, to like the general collector who may be content with buying items on the floor may not necessarily see this as such, especially when you see people paying multiples from the floor, right? However, it's competitive among the collectors. And speaking of listing things at floor or below floor in order to get that liquidity quicker, I noticed that there was this user. I won't. I'll respect their privacy. I try and do that as much as I can. If I don't, please excuse me. But there's this old collector that was very well known.
Yep.
He's been dumping
Mm-hmm.
crazy items. Some
Yeah.
crazy items. Like I saw Steamboat Willie's at like 40 gems or 50 gems below floor. But like four, five, six, seven, eight at a time. He's been listing some. Another thing was he listed like the Sorcerer Mickey hat, the Golden Moment. He listed like 10 of them at one gem on the
Uh, auction.
on the yeah, he put them up for auction.
Okay.
I don't know how many of those actually sold or how many he delisted. I don't know. But he's been around long enough where he
I
had
I
stacks
I
of
saw a
those. Yeah.
couple Supermans too. That
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and I think those Supermans were definitely like way maybe like 20, 25 gems below floor. And I was so surprised to see his name because based on his collection that he had before, putting these things on the floor, that caught me by surprise as well.
Yep. I mean, I'd like to know what his angle is
Yeah.
while he's been doing that. And I mean, there's still a bunch of items of his on the market, and I'm sure that,
Mm.
that's not going to be the end of it anytime soon, considering how much of a of how much inventory he had.
Yeah.
Now, to that same extent, in that I think that who was it? I was talking with another uh, collector who's pretty well known, and I was asking him like, "Hey, what's your take on what's been going on? Have you been changing anything?" And he was telling me like it's not smart to be stacking much nowadays because if you want to sell anything, it takes a long time. It takes a long time, and then you've got to list it well below floor and take your losses, and it's tough to to stomach those losses. Um, Even more so than most of us have if we do realize losses from all these months or years of holding things. And he was saying that he won't grab more than like just a handful, like three, four, five
Mm-hmm.
of any particular item because of that. And it's better to just kind of have that liquidity ready to go for future drops when you do see things that you like. Um, and I was thinking at the same time that yes, that's true. And there's going to be some serious implications if older collectors, like the one who's been dumping on the market recently, if that continues. Because I was seeing that a lot of the golden moments are below 100 gems already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Sorcerer Mickey hat was hovering like still over 100, like 130, 140, 150-ish. Elsa was above 100 for the longest time, and now I think it hit like an all-time low, maybe. It's below 100 gems on the market. And I was thinking, like, what else is still above 100 gems for the golden moments? Of course, there's Walt,
Mm-hmm.
there's the Sorcerer Mickey hat, but
Walt is like 1800 now, so it's not where it used to be anymore.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think, I think we still haven't seen the bottom yet for a lot of the golden moments because of the high additions, and we
Mm.
don't know what VeVe's going to do with the old accounts that still have not KYC'd. I know that we're still waiting on the announcement
Yeah.
um, in regards to what they're going to do. And that's a very serious concern for people who are worried about vault values.
Especially today, the Lamborghini drop, which has not sold out yet. 470 gems. Like I think the secret rare is the only one that is above retail, and that one is maybe like 3x floor. Oh, so sorry, 3x retail. So the retail is 70. Secret rare is 210, so 3x, and then ultra rare is like 60-ish something, and the rare and the uncommon is like 20 something, 30 something. I think that if you which is totally not worth the gamble, right? Like I think we both avoided the drop today,
Mhm.
but if I were to spend 70 gems on VeVe today, then I would definitely go for like those golden moments or even like the things on the secondary market, because a lot of them I feel are somewhat undervalued at this point in time, just because a lot of people got a, got tired and they sold. So I think most of the drops nowadays, I'm skipping because I'm just seeing better opportunities on the market. I haven't bought anything recently beside the Wolverine that I landed on a drop. But if I were to spend money, then I would look for significant FAs on the secondary market and just skip the drops altogether.
Yeah. And also, if you look ahead just a couple of weeks, of course, and I do like this a lot that they're making
Mm.
announcements well ahead of time, like a week or two, maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost May, and there's like a lot of Star Wars fans, so there's going to be a
Mm.
gem squeeze if anything big pops up. during that month. And if you can, hold off buying anything. If you're going to buy it from the floor, hold off on buying anything until those gem squeezes happen, because you're going to get great bargains. You're
Yeah.
going to get great bargains. Like I saw a Walt for like 1,500, um, right before the Wolverine drop. Uh, and I mean, there were some crazy, crazy deals. It was just like a giveaway. And yeah, if you're gonna buy when buy when people are selling and it's cutthroat and people are it's a race to the bottom. Th- that's when you want to be buying, not when when there's like a panic.
Hmm. And
Uh,
especially like for Star Wars, even I think Darth Vader UR is maybe less than $400.
Less than I saw it for I want to say yeah, I saw it in the 300s.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Even like three less than 350 or something like that. But I know it's like lower than what I expected it. I don't have any, so I don't check it out that often. But
yeah,
I feel like if there was a squeeze, then it's probably like a pretty good idea to look into these existing items that are already there, because like Doth and Look are super significant FAs. And we don't have that many significant FAs to drop anymore. So that's why that was another reason why I was kind of focusing a little bit more time on the secondary market. I haven't bought anything for a while, but
yeah.
I
Oh,
just see opportunities there.
yeah. Speaking of which, I saw I was just double checking. Yeah, Darth Vader, ultra rare, fell under 300 gems. I saw it.
Wow.
Now that I remember, now that I think about it, I
Hmm.
saw it like for like 270 at one point. So
That
I mean,
sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
yeah,
270.
and May's coming soon. For Star Wars fans,
Hmm.
they're gonna want those gems, and if they're not adding gems, they're gonna be selling items. So just keep an eye out for that. Just hold off a little while longer, and anyone who wants to buy, your time is coming in just a matter of a few weeks here.
Hmm.
Um, and then like also, uh, on that same note, with this whole not wanting to have stacks anymore because it's going to be tough to get liquidity, um, unless you have that kind of patience to wait like years. And if you're doing that just for liquidity, way, 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 way down the road, if you want to speculate, in that respect, that's cool too. No, no, no hate there. I respect that, and everyone's got their own angle. But again, like if you want to differentiate your collection, it's probably going to be through those special editions, and
Yeah.
that's probably, um, I mean, when you have thousands and thousands of editions and thousands of collectibles, if you want to distinguish your collection from the rest, if you target a narrow range of editions, you can really make it pop. You
Yeah.
can make it stand out, and it doesn't need to be anything particular. It doesn't need to be binary, sequential, um, repeating, whatever. It could be your area code, right?
Yeah. I read a post recently on Facebook that I totally agree with. And something along the line of like, I think VeVe is just waiting for one event that will change a lot of things. I'm not trying to hype anything up or anything, or like trying to get people the wrong expectation. But my point is that a lot of people have left, right? A lot of people just have their things in a VeVe account, but they haven't really participated much recently. There's a lot of deals on the secondary market, but it feels like the general consensus is everybody is waiting for something that will help VeVe to pop, that will bring a lot of more people into the app. So one example that a lot of people talk about, we rarely mention it on the podcast because we don't like to speculate, is what if they announced a partnership with Pokemon? We took two months off, right? I came back. Things are generally the same. Maybe I feel like there's less engagement too. And yeah, it just feels to me like everybody kind of like, okay, I know VeVe exists. I have some things there. There are a small group of collectors who are super passionate about it, but the rest are kind of like just have some collectibles parked in their collection and know about the know about the deals and know about the company and potential and all those kind of things. But everybody is just kind of like waiting for that one thing that will kind of change it. And I think that will happen. I just don't know what it is. Maybe when that actually happens, there'll be a rush of people coming in, just checking out the app, and then things will go back up again. Um, but the thing is, we don't know when, we don't know how, we don't know what. Yeah, the opportunities that we are seeing on the secondary market looks pretty attractive for me. So, for example, Superman is in like the mid 200s, maybe closer to 300, which is not bad for FA Superman or even Darth Vader too. If it's like upper 200, and then other things too, you know. And so the last topic we want to discuss today is the next crafting event, and I think you have read about it. So why don't you get started on it?
Yep, on April 27th, the Marvel Mighties have the next collection, which is called X-Men Villains. And there's like maybe 5 or 6 different collectibles. Some are first appearances, some are not. And the response from a couple of people that I've been talking to is a little bit underwhelming. Some people are, it's the same old story, but some people really wish that some of these FAs were a little bit more polished in
Mm.
their in terms of how they're being represented on VeVe, but they double, triple, quadruple down on the mighties, and so it is what it is. Um, Now, with that being the fourth in this series of Marvel mighties related to,
I think we have five, right?
well, yeah, there's more. There's more to
Yeah,
it. Well,
yeah. This
um,
this might be like the fourth one in 5 or 6 of them, or something like that.
yeah, there's an extension to this. So there's the Avengers Series One, uh, the X-Men Heroes, then back to Avengers Series 2, and now we're back, and then again, X-Men Villains. So X-Men Heroes, X-Men Villains, Avengers Series 1, Avengers Series 2. Now they're
Wow.
mixing and matching the different collectibles that you need, but this is
Yeah.
the breakdown. Short and sweet, I hope. Falcon and Scarlet Witch, and Beast and Storm. So those 4 collectibles: Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Beast, and Storm. You need those 4. You need to use the symbiote, which is you have to buy that separately, and you have to buy one symbiote for each of those 4. And I think it's like 15 to 30 gems for
Mm-hmm.
the symbiote,
For the symbiote, yeah, 15. Yeah, something like that.
but I imagine the price is going to be running up on that, so it's going to be a lot more expensive than that. But so you do the math. You, like, listeners, you can figure out the math, but you have to get all of those 4, and then you have to craft those 4. You're not going to lose the original pieces, but then you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get like venomized, venomized character versions of those 4 characters to be eligible for crafting Carnage. And you basically, you would buy your way to being able to, yet again, buy Carnage. And then for the other 4 collectibles that you need to craft Venom, you would need Iron Man, Hawkeye, Magneto, and the Blob. Okay? You would need those 4 along with 4 symbiotes to venomize those 4 characters to have the right to buy your way
Oh
into
man.
buying Venom. Um, so I'm curious to see how the market plays this out. I have no comment on.
I think people have to make that calculation whether it's worth it for them to, buy the symbiotes and all these mighties.
I mean,
Because
like, yeah.
yeah, from my experience, like in the past crafting event, it just feels like it's a much better return on investment if you were just buying like straight like that crafted thing from the secondary market.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I
Mm-hmm.
feel the same way. I have yet to see something that made it worthwhile in terms of crafting. It's just like it's cool. It's fun. I mean, I understand that you can pay for the experience. I mean, we pay
Mm-hmm.
for experiences all the time. We pay for eating is an experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going to the movies, we pay more money for more simple things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past people to want to be involved in this experience for crafting these collectibles to get Carnage or Venom. No, no shame in that whatsoever. I mean, we pay. Some people like to gamble 70 gems for a Lambo, and then it drops like 40, 50
Yeah.
gems that same day. So
But
people
yeah,
are gonna gamble.
basically
People
people
are gonna
have to
gamble.
make that calculation whether it's worth it for them or just buy directly on the market.
Yeah.
uh
Um,
yeah.
I did notice that thinking back a little bit of the collectibles that could have been crafted and what's been burned, a lot of those didn't finish getting crafted. And so many of those older items that were getting crafted got burned. Um, and then it made those items rare, but people don't usually act on it until they see the announcement or if they know that there's a deadline. So
Mm,
I don't know if there is one, but I'd like to know what the deadline is for crafting Carnage and Venom because probably closer to that announcement date or that cutoff time, we might see a little bit of a pump before it comes back down. So
yeah.
there's a lot of ebbs and flows with this kind of thing, with the crafting and new items that we're expected to see on the secondary market.
Yeah. Think it through what is worth it for you to complete these sets, or like just go for drops and or buy things from the secondary market, whether it's the mighty or like the symbiote. Spend all these gems to kind of guesstimate it to see whether the return on investment for the crafted item is worth it for you. Otherwise, you might be better off just buying it from the secondary market, and you might be able to get a nice mint number too. Yeah, so I guess that is it for this week's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate it. Remember to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.